Okay, guys. So today is part of focus on raw selections. Do the simple things brilliantly, and putting a refocus on that for you guys to highlight on not just everything you do, but I'm just going to focus on that initial discussion and that initial conversation. Have you been able to wow either your prospect or your current client with the communication that you share, the preparation that you've put in before that call, and various different other bits? So if we think about when we're on the phone with a prospect, how many times have we heard, you sound like every other recruitment firm? Oh, you sound like every other business. Oh yeah, that's what every recruitment says. Yeah, we do talent mapping, yeah, we do this, yeah, we do that, we do an effective search, we find the best talent, we do bullshit, we do this, we do that. You sound like every other firm, okay? If we asked every bar around Leeds and every restaurant around Leeds to pitch their restaurant to us, they're gonna say, we do great foods, we have a nice atmosphere, and we serve fantastic drinks, right? Now, if that was true, then now I'd be buzzing about going to every single restaurant around Leeds and there'd be no issues when we get there and the face turns sour because the food's absolute shit. So, but if I can't remember where it was where we went and you couldn't eat anything because of allergy, but every firm sounds the same. Every restaurant in Leeds looks the same, okay? But if you went to, I can't think somewhere that we've been, anyone think of somewhere that we've been that's been absolutely shocking?
Yeah.
Like Indian place.
Mowgli.
No, Mowgli. Absolute dog shit.
So when we went to Mowgli, service was terrible, etc. And it was like, I think this was probably one of your recommendations?
Mine.
No, it was your recommendation. Right, so, and we went in, service was terrible, lady showed us to our table, sat down, didn't get us a drink, had to ask to order drinks, then had to ask to order food. Food came and it was on the same plates that we'd eaten because it's like, some... like these tapas type Indian type stuff. So the food wasn't bad, but the service was just absolutely shit, and it wasn't worth anything of what we went in there for. Now, if you ask Mowgli, they tell you how great they are. Okay. Now, imagine if you walked into a restaurant and you'd been there before, and they said, "Oh yeah, thanks a lot for coming back. Great to see you again." Right? Imagine if you're with your mates go, "Oh yeah, you're some kind of big dog, whatever." Now, it's that feeling of being an important person, of being a VIP, of that communication. The building's the same, the four walls are the same, there's windows, they serve food, they serve drinks, but the feeling that you left that individual with is what is important.
El Gato Negro has that sort of service.
Yeah, so when you have that level of feeling, it makes you think, I want to go back there because I know that I'll get a level of service that I'm happy with, and I know what I'm doing when I go in there. So we're not going to focus on the doing, because that's a little bit of a different conversation. We're going to focus on that feeling of how you felt when you went in there, value for money, etc. Now, the difference between that simply comes down, well, loads of different things, but it comes down to the attitude and mentality of that business and the attitude and mentality of that individual. Okay? You're going to get a different level of service if that person's dog's just died against that person's, just got a brand new puppy yesterday and they're really excited about it. Okay? Now, there's going to be facets that drive our different attitude levels, but if we are demonstrating a really high energy, a really high empathy, rapport, then that will eventually come off. It might be that it only gets you one search in a year, extra bit of business, but that's on average, obviously, for us, £60,000. That could be an additional client that's worth to you £300,000 a year. And that's your difference of level of how you're operating with the conversations that you have. If you think about, if we tally up the whole number of business development calls that you do in a year, I don't actually know the averages per month per consultant, but let's say it's 30, 40, that times by 12, okay? That conversation all the time, all you're looking to do is convert 3 of them to be a client to keep returning your business, and then you're absolutely laughing, and you can, trip with Jack wherever he drinks, probably in a shed somewhere in the bottom of the garden. But you've got that level, but it's the separation. The question of, I went to something called a business show, which I don't condone because it was terrible, but I came away with one thing. I came with a load of crap of think it was the recruitment show where they were handing out frisbees, and I was like, who's coming here for a frisbee? There's a freebie. Oh, shit. But digress. Came away with one thing, and that was the guy said, stop trying to position USPs. We have our USPs as a business and why we sell ourselves and how we can be that differentiating level of communication of actual the words of what we do, but the USP is the experience of how we position it. You know, what we put in for our clients. How many times have we heard Egon Zender have messed this up? Spencer Stewart has been the number one. You know, there's tons of recruitment firms that are getting things wrong right now with the level of service, the level of experience, and if they just work with us, they wouldn't have those issues. But they see us as them and all of the same vein, so we have to demonstrate differently via our communication of how we are who we are. High energy, high drive, sharp communication. If we think about a straight line selling model, sharp as attack, enthusiastic as hell. That communication in every single call is fantastic. If somebody, I mean, Ollie's just done training, I was make a reference to this on a Thursday, but what happened was I was Dick prospect, no time, and immediately Ollie's space went really quickly, started talking to me really quick, and he lost. And I was just like letting him ramble through his conversation, then asking him a really direct question. If we slow that communication down and we speak with authority and gravitas, when Ollie asked me the question and we role played it back, it was very difficult for him to then challenge me because I spoke like this as opposed to speaking like this. And it was, yeah. So it's like, okay, who's this dither an idiot? Whereas when they spoke really calmly and that person was pushing back, then me thinking, okay, yeah, this person probably knows what they're doing. So it's how, when you're on those calls, how do you prepare a little extra? How do you give a little bit of extra energy? How do you demonstrate a little bit more? How do you protect when that person shoots you down and hangs up on you? And the next call is with equal, if not more, enthusiasm to get through. And how do you demonstrate on top of what you do with regards to, hi, my name's Alex, calling for role selection, specialty executive search, work with portfolio, private equity, whatever. Reason for the call. How do you bring that extra energy, that extra something to that discussion? And even then, how do you leave them with something? So if they mention something on the call, then you shoot them an email. If they mention that they want a salary survey, and then you get them a salary survey across. If they mention that, I don't know, they're moving house and you do something special for them, whatever it could be, we send them a card or we do something that separates what we're doing. It's thinking outside that box. You know, I've sent 2 bottles of champagne out this year, which is nothing to shout and scream about, but I know that 2 of my clients have moved house. So they've both got a bottle of champagne. I'm not saying you guys should have known to have done that, but I'm telling you now, you have that option to do it. If we have a reason to surprise somebody and delight somebody, then that is part of our vision and our goals, so therefore utilise it. If someone says they're struggling with regards to salaries and they don't know what they're looking for, oh, well, let me have a think about it, I'll come back to you. Okay, well, let me have a conversation and see if we've got a report internally. Manufacturing guys, we've got loads. Okay, private equity guys, we've got some, right? You've got the opportunity, healthcare, we've got none. You need more data, you've got one behavioural healthcare candidate on the CRM. So if we've got that, then we have the opportunity to then share that information. And then again, it's them being in front of us, it's them reading some documentation for us, it's us being a little bit different. Might be that you don't get the search now, but it might be that you get it in the future. I had an email yesterday from a prospect that I've not spoken to for a very long time. It must be a year, over a year. It's Germany, so I haven't done anything in Germany for ages. So, and he just dropped me an email with a search brief or information, job description, with all the details on it. I was like, yeah, I don't think I've spoken to this person. And funny enough, I took a vacancy from him a long time ago. It was not urgent and they didn't require. Mark's is not urgent on the CRM. And he said, I remember the conversation we had, and I've sent, so I sent it out to you. Now, I don't remember that call, I don't remember that discussion. It could have been good, it could have been bad. His next call, the recruiter could have been shit, so I could have looked great. But if that person remembers us for whatever reason, then we have a better chance winning that business. Same thing with your candidates. You can create a level of memory with your candidates, but just spending that little extra time, and I'm absolutely terrible at this. So when it comes down to building strong relationships with candidates, even with clients, certainly with prospects, I'm not very good at it. It's not part of my normal skill set. So just spending a bit of extra time, just making an extra promise, just going back to them in 2 weeks when you said you would, and saying, look, I've got nothing at the moment, I've had these conversations, I've had these discussions, it can make the world of difference. Most recruiters speak to a candidate once and then move on. What if you could be the recruiter that just spoke to somebody twice and that was doing the simple things brilliantly? It's just thinking and changing that mindset. How do you do things brilliantly, and you will find opportunities that come to you because of that, because of the level of communication, because of the level of service that you've given, that relationship that you've eventually built, that will then come of it. You know, your conversations with Walter, going back to them, not giving an email feedback of you've not got the job, having a conversation with them, telling you continue to work with them, you like their profile, etc. Those extra bits that just edge it a little bit further forward. You know, that bit of communication, that voicemail, that, you know, even, you know, I know Cosmos has changed his kind regards to have a great day. It's those little bits and pieces that do make a change in things. You know, certainly that I've not appreciated across my career of saying to somebody, when someone says have a great day, or something like that, whatever. But it could make that little bit of difference for someone else if it's said with, you know, on a genuine basis, as opposed to, oh, have a great day, mate, see you, bye. You know, it's actually said with genuine, you know, oh, you said you're going into a meeting, you know, you're flying to have a really great flight.